We got into why some agents are terrified of talking real estate with their own friends and why that fear is just a sign you haven't actually learned the skill yet. Plus, the flashlight trick that Taylor uses to make buyers realize they need you before you've even said a single word about representation. And if you want the stuff we don't put in the recording, you're going to need to be on the live show and put in the details in the comments. Let's get into it.
Welcome to The Leads Are Shit. This is a real estate magazine podcast, and here is Andrew Fogliato, the owner of Real Estate Magazine. And he's also the founder of Just Sell Homes. And that is a real estate marketing company that does what it says it does. It allows you as a real estate agent to just sell homes. And my name is Taylor Hack. I am a team leader and really industry wanderer, nerd of real estate. And I come from Edmonton, Alberta. I'm a real estate team leader. I've been in production, out of production. And I like to talk about this stuff. And what we realized is that we would do this anyway. And now we have a whole bunch of people that would do this anyway here along with us.
Hey, we got Ron and Ryan already. We didn't have to prompt them. I love it.
Hey-o, Ron, leading the way.
From Lethbridge now,
Ryan leading the way, saying where he's from. Extra points for Ryan. Ryan from Lethbridge. Ron we know is from Vancouver.
Yeah,
because this is where he hangs out.
You're good. Yeah, I think Ryan actually now might hold the record, not just for here, but for the most REM things attended. Because he's also showing up on like our other webinars, our masterminds, all of it.
Wow.
See, that's something that well,
that's something that also like means more to us than people know. So the truth is that every broadcaster needs a radio. Like as soon as you have a tower, what you need are radios. And some people are like, man, we like to listen to some things. And other people like me, I have to work the ideas out by idea testing them, often verbally, broken in very special ways.
Everyone is. Everybody is. So you had a concept you want to talk about today.
Well, we're kind of building on a concept because I'm trying to help more people understand, and I'm trying to more deeply understand the fundamentals. So really, when we were talking about the how real estate works, or how to basically help people understand that a lot of things they're not what they appear. I think real estate from the outside, when people are starting new, they think I'm going to get successful, then people are going to notice me because I'll have the money to be on billboards. Right? But the truth of the matter is normally if they can't inspire confidence with their friends that are going to move this year and then next year, it's over.
Yeah.
Like if your own sphere group doesn't support you, you might be a skilled salesperson. Well, I got to tell you that I don't have any billboards. Do you have any billboards?
Like you're starting at that size, whereas like the only time I would start considering it in most markets. You're right on that point where I'd be like, maybe it's worth it soon.
I do appreciate that. And I kind of like believe that there is a progression. You know how like little creatures have an exoskeleton, but once you get bigger, you gotta have a skeleton inside based on what animals look like now.
Yeah.
Well, that's like when you're in the beginning, or maybe as I'm kind of approaching this, the approach that I really wanted to take is to be known for helping people. Yeah. And I do believe that most top agents in markets are kind of split between people that are like real estate agents that are very good at helping people and real estate agents that are very good at finding people to help.
Yes, shout out to Jennifer in the comments. She's from where I am right now. Sitting here in Newmarket. We got Jennifer in Newmarket.
In Newmarket. Recently stayed. Where's that? The Signature?
You stayed at the Postmark Hotel when you came.
The Postmark.
Yeah, which is right on Main Street.
And it was a great experience. Nice place.
Mm-hmm. Can't complain. It was pretty good.
Salmon Arm, you guys are about to get into that season. It's BC. It's in the Okanagan, right in the good spot in the shoe shops. And Niagara. Yeah. In Edmonton, it's just not going to be as cold.
When do you get stop snow? When do you stop snow in Edmonton?
We don't really know. Like this week, yes. Like this week, it's raining right now. Last week it snowed. The mountains near us just got like 17 centimeters. It's really just wait 10 minutes and you'll see.
No.
So we're talking about this concept of how real estate looks, and a lot of people are like, "Man, I don't want to talk to my friends about real estate because then I feel salesy." And I would really like to replace the word salesy with shitty. Like, have you ever tried to listen to a bad rapper? Oh,
Yeah.
brutal, right? Or somebody who's awful at singing. I know people who can make someone cringe with a whistle.
It's
That's
an
what,
impressive talent.
so that's what being tone deaf is in sales, is it's not understanding what people are interested in, so you don't talk about interesting things.
Well, there's a great one that Phil Jones does when he talks about like sales guys on stage and saleswomen on stage, where it's like has people shout out the words that they think are associated with sales reps. And it's always like the pushy, salesy, like your stereotypical aggressive salesperson. But then no one in the room describes themselves that way. And they all like consultative, helpful, like the best bit is always that. And he's like, so why are we defining salespeople this way when everyone agrees the good ones are this way? And it's
Yeah.
that like
Like, why would you
job role.
define hockey players as the bad hockey players?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But when most people talk about it from the other side, when survey results show us things like trust is the highest value that people are looking for with their real estate relationship, we find that really it's a relationship element. And we also notice inside the industry that the quiet part out loud is that there's a whole bunch of real estate agents that are very good at being friendly. And I would even take it so far as being like a psychological benefit, right? And I don't want to diminish that, right? I hold like, that there is a position for that. I think bedside manner is a big part of real estate.
Yep.
So we know that this part of it matters so much. And that's why we're talking about like relationships, because when you meet somebody in an open house, you have to build a relationship with them. Because if you're not trusted, then that's not what they're looking for. And the other side of it is that being a little bit vulnerable with them can help that. But just saying like, let's look at the house, that's like not what friends would do. And if you don't know anything about them, don't you know things about your friends? Like, you know deep things about their friends. You know who they vote for. You
Do you
know,
always though?
I think if you don't, you mostly do.
I mean, like,
Because they're probably voting something that is less popular.
yeah. Well, I just think of that literally just so funny thing of like I know people who've known me for many years who still have no idea who I vote for.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But also, like, I think it would be harder to determine anybody like you that would probably have set criteria instead of long alliances.
And I change different elections.
Well, that's what I mean, because you have
Simple there.
criteria instead of
Yeah.
alliances.
Yeah, exactly. But it is a funny one because like you get the assumption. But yeah, anyways, we're about to go off topic and start talking about which animals we can take. So let's get back on track.
So let's start. Like, I think the best examples are kind of like flat footed so people can see what the entry level of this looks like.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on the sales side and say, if you're like what sales is at essence is conversations that lead to an exchange. And so when you think about who is most available for you, you have to think about the people that you currently have relationships with that would be open to talking to real estate with you. So you can start by making a holistic list of everyone that you know, right? All you need is a name for this one, but you probably should have a name and maybe some notes where you know them from, right? How you're connected to them. That would be very helpful. And then you could go through there and you could divide that list into groups and say, these are people that I have direct relationships with. We go to each other's houses. I talk to them on the phone. I have all of their contact information. These are my close relationships. And then you could work your way out to the relationships, some of which are only online. But if they live in your market and they're just maybe like the friend of another kid at school that you guys met through a group and like, but you kind of still, have an association or could DM them, that might be enough. But the quality of this list is somewhat important. And then you want to take a look at how you can put yourself in better position to allow these personal relationships to accommodate a business relationship. And mostly that's not scaring them. That's not scaring them off. I'm a realtor. Now, every weekend, all my Instagram, everything I talk about is open house. You should buy, you should buy, you should buy. That's what they really are afraid of. But just like Phil Jones mentioned, they never really see that, do they?
Well, like if I was because lately I've been going onto Reddit more, and it's a lot of like people crapping on realtors. And really, what when you read it, they're crapping on crappy realtors, right? Like the Phil Jones thing of what is a sales rep, and they give you all those adjectives of everything you don't want to be as a sales rep. That's the impression that like a lot of consumers who don't have a realtor think of as realtors. But then when they think of their realtor, they get into that they're great, they're consultative, they have my back, they have this, they have my best interest at heart, right? Like that's funny. It's like, no, no, my realtor's the good one. Those ones we talk about online, those are the other ones.
The My Realtor is a really big part of this because we've
Yeah,
been referring to it as a home team, and what we
yeah,
mean is a group of people that acknowledge that business and personal relationship.
yeah.
So if
Well,
you
it's
met
like
them
the
in an open
thing.
house, now they feel like a friend, but they believe you're good in real estate and you talk about real estate. And it was easy because you started talking about real estate. But coming the other side seems to feel sticky. Like these people
Yeah,
that you have relationships with, now you're afraid of being salesy. And that should be a caution because if you're new and you haven't done like if you're afraid of being salesy, it's likely that you're untrained.
yeah,
Okay? And so that means that you do need to be careful. You should have a strategy because otherwise you will come across as being salesy. And that's because you're not good yet.
yeah. That's, I mean, that was one like literally like we've talked about this before. When I started out, I especially terrible at sales, and I was scared of that exact thing. And it's because I was in every like when you go to trains, you hear about people who are bad. Like that was me. I was probably commission breath. I had no idea what I was talking about. I wasn't working towards an outcome. I wasn't learning enough about them. I went straight into like, here's why I should be hired, even though I didn't believe half of what I was saying. It
Yeah,
was
but
like,
now, as somebody
yeah,
who is a salesperson, I know that, like, maybe in my first contact, I'm gathering intel.
yeah.
And
That's the
so,
change, man.
like, this doesn't need to be like feel all tactical. But the truth is that if I wanted to care about Andrew in real estate, I have to know what Andrew cares about. So, what if I spent this next conversation asking Andrew about his house, why he chose his house, and explaining that I wanted to know more about that. Not just how he bought it and like the deal. That's something that only fucking matters to us. So, but from his perspective, this is his home. So, like, how did you guys end up there?
Yeah,
And yeah, like he's talked about it before. They had a very short window of time. The fact that it was in a cul-de-sac was like a really big deal. And so now I would learn those things and I would probably have a way to be interesting to Andrew now.
yeah,
And I'd be like, hey, I just saw this house sell. And you know what? Like, it was kind of interesting because your family is such a family neighborhood that look at this one that sold in the cul-de-sac by comparison to this similar house that was just outside. That you made a really good purchase there.
yeah. And like when I look at it too, it's like you want to understand why they bought that one, and then understand what doesn't work about it now. Like, what is that
And
prompt
that's
from?
something that you could get to, but in these same conversations, you might find out talking to someone that they like looking at real estate.
Yeah,
And they're like, oh man, like just en suites. I could just scroll en suites. I go on Pinterest and I scroll en suites, right?
yeah,
And so then by that person telling me that, normally what one is I get their language a little bit. So so I know to talk like design with them. Like they're going to talk about real estate in the future if they're going like that. So I'm going to be like, well, I've seen these bathrooms that are kind of this like green at the bottom and then wallpaper up the wall. Is that the stuff that you're seeing right now? And then she'll tell me. But that way, when I want to keep those real estate conversations going, I would be like, Wendy, I just saw this hit MLS, and I think this is the best ensuite this year in your neighborhood.
yeah.
Can you
Can you
rate
book
it
it
for
in
me?
here?
right? Because I need them to have real estate conversations with me before I ever signal anything that makes them feel invasive, like I'm invading. So getting into things like motivation is salesy if you do it too quick.
Yeah.
Like we talk about dating, and if you sit down at the table, reach across and grab their hands, even hand holding can be too fast.
Dating makes me one of the easiest analogies for when people suck at sales. Um,
Yeah, they just
like,
walk into a Tinder
like,
date and they're opening the ring.
like when we're looking at it from a technical perspective, like we've talked about this, and we haven't actually talked about it as much lately, but MQL, SQL, it's like marketing qualified lead. Like these are not people ready to move. It's essentially just a list of names. That's what marketing is working to nurture them and get them ready and identify when someone transitions to be
And
sales
I want to
ready.
follow this same analogy we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So there are people that you know that you need to talk real estate, you need to have real estate conversations with before they have a need, because preparation needs to happen before opportunity arrives in order for success to take place.
But if you go
You
hard
can
on move
happenstance into
now,
success,
yeah.
and you won't ever know that they called two agents before you that were both busy if they don't tell you, right? But what you want to do is guarantee that by having this home team of people that like value your relationship with them and talk real estate with you, because they all talk real estate. Every adult, we're wired for it. Right at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy, the very first thing we need is shelter. And that translates because we're just interested in it for our entire life. And that's why we also have the number one aspirational job of adults. So coming into this, we're going to have these relationships that are looking for general content, like general information. And what they don't want is pressure to have conversations for cash, which are like intentional conversations about when you're going to take action in real estate. So we would call this the research phase, right? And if you go to yank somebody out of the research phase into the action phase, you better have a great reason, because you're basically, like, in their opinion, taking them out of college mid-run. And then the action phase is when someone can write an offer today, meaning that if I put you in a great house at a great price, can you write an offer today? Oh, you have to sell a house? That's not an acceptable offer from the market. The normal market offer is going to remove conditions in 10 days. Some of them aren't even going to do that, but most of them, in most markets that I've seen, you tell me if that's yours. But
Yeah.
so that's a normal market offer. Can you write that offer today? That's what action ready looks like. That's what action phase would be.
Yeah.
Oh, don't have a pre-approval yet, but we just know you have money? Doesn't matter. If you're financing, do it. If not, proof of funds, let's roll.
Yeah. And I'm curious for you, what is it, the 5-star one where you would say someone moves from an MQL to an SQL? Like for you to look at it and say this person now is ready for a sales conversation, what's the cue you're looking for?
Timeline. Let's turn that dream into a goal. And that's the
Yeah.
difference, is do you have a timeline? Because that makes it a plan now. And
Yeah.
if you don't have a timeline, oh, when the house shows up. Yeah, I've never heard that before. My first time.
Yeah. If the
Mm-hmm.
perfect one
Because
comes
even when
up,
the
the
house
person's
shows
ready.
up, if you can't write an offer, like, you won't acknowledge that. And most people, when they tell me that, I know what they're telling me. They're
Yeah.
telling me that when I find something I love at 10 to 20% below market value, I will do what it takes to have that.
Yeah.
You and everyone else, that's why they never sell that low. The market won't let that happen. That's how that
Yeah.
stuff works.
Exactly. Like you got to really dive into like getting them to be offer ready. Like even if they're not, even if that timeline is still undefined because they're waiting on the perfect house, they still have to also be willing to get everything ready so that if the right one comes up, they can set the timeline in that moment.
Totally.
Right.
And that's why we talk about like things like the D's of real estate. But if you don't
Yeah.
have a relationship with them, how do you find out about the diploma or the new job or the baby? Right.
Yeah.
Then the other side of it would be the things that make people move in natural progression, like knowing how long they've been in their house.
Yep.
Because I talk to people about a recent, like I call it my recent client database. He bought a house in like the last 3 years. I should be trying to be in alignment with that in order to be interesting to you, because otherwise I'm annoying. and I should be talking to you about projects. How are you going to like enjoy this house while you're there? And then those people that get into that like 4 or 5, they're already talking about it inside their house. You know what weird stuff makes people move? I would say number one in my career, because I serve families with kids. Somebody will be like, yeah, this year, but we're not quite sure yet. We're going to iron out some details. And then they call me a week later. Her sister bought a house. It's game time, baby.
No. But that's what you got to be ready. Cause like, I love when people are like, oh, buyers are liars. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, they said they were like 2 years out from moving and then they ended up buying a house the next week. I'm like, they weren't lying. They meant 2 years a week ago.
At that time, but they had no
Yeah.
way to measure it.
Yeah.
You are listening to them without hearing them, and that's what a clerk is.
Yeah.
Whereas I hear my clients, so when they say 2 years, what it says is not now. That's the only thing they can tell me.
Yeah.
What reasonable, like, did they give me concrete evidence as to why to 2 years? Like, if they're waiting for Jason to get his real job once he gets his diploma, sure,
Yeah.
I believe in you more. But if they end up like, if they tell me like that's just their general plan, then I know that if I'm not talking to them every 90 days, somebody else is. I
Yeah.
need to increase my frequency of contact because that's what prepared looks like when opportunity arrives.
And you got to figure out like what needs to line up for that 2 years to become a week from now. And you got to
Well, you know
understand
what
like
the
what
litmus
that is
test
for
is?
them. Yeah.
They want more information on something that just sold down the block on the way to work.
Yeah.
If they call the listing agent before you, that's why.
You're
Like
not
you
their
are
guy
being
yet.
salesy. They're afraid to call you.
Yeah.
But if you open that door to have 100 real estate interactions with zero pressure, they just fly in. So now look at your home team at 300. Good luck getting it to there. Could you imagine like getting a building to fire capacity with people that not only like wouldn't walk past you? This is twice what a big wedding looks like, and that's two people getting married. So like when you take a look at getting that people and then they all say my realtor is you and they all would text you, like you're not going to be doing external marketing as much as you're going to be doing like this resonance marketing, and that seems to be what most realtors want because they want to be paid well and recognized. And recognition brings status. Like being a doctor, that's what they get. Shift work sucks. The income's not as good as you think. Status is amazing. Is there a doctor on the plane? Oh my goodness, you're a doctor.
Yeah. It's an interesting, like, when would you look at like how that would play a role into it? Like, how would you bring together that piece? Like, you're going to a new market, you got to start from scratch almost. Or you're a new realtor in Edmonton with no home team yet. How are you?
Well, new realtor in Edmonton's a different problem to solve because I think a lot of the people coming in are already somewhat planted. Like if you're coming
Yeah.
in to be new at real estate in a new city, go work for someone else. Like
Yeah.
flat out start an assistant because the likelihood that you're going to run through your burn rate, like it's just going to be the
Yeah.
money that had the brightest fire you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about like actual people that should do this. The way you know you should do this is based on how many people ask you for advice as opposed to you just giving advice to them. You cannot count unsolicited advice. There's too many realtors that qualify by that already. They don't do well. But that normally means that people are like, you know what, you kind of figure things out. Right? And that means that more likely people would listen to you. And then you also just have to take a look at this as though it's anything else that you would have to learn. Like if you're starting plumbing tomorrow, just because you live in a house with pipes doesn't qualify you for anything. And there's so many people that are realtors that think I have a mouth and I have a house, so I can do this. So now so think about like 50 people that would meet that like fairly direct contact with, right? Now from a sales portion, I have to like kind of collaborate with the marketer and me, or if I have an amazing marketer like Andrew, I have to think about a way to approach those people. And the goal is awareness, but also how many conversations could I have like one we described, where I intentionally get them to allow me to interview them about how they chose their house and how they felt that went.
No.
All right. So, one, if you're a new agent, these are going to be incredibly valuable conversations if you do them well, and they should be entirely about that other person. But then, if that person feels heard, you're their agent. Like you just talked real estate with them at a deep level. They already
Yeah.
like you. And so you're going to be on your, that's going to be on your radar. So now, right when that happens, Andrew has to start making us sticky. So, one, do they have your contact information? Do they have it in a way that they could connect others to you if they wanted to support you? Do they know anything about that? Then the second thing is like, what kind of cycle do I need to get into? Because I'm not doing follow up. That's trying to talk to people I don't know. I'm doing nurture. And nurture should be how deep can I get to know them? Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, favorite sports team, where they grew up. All of these things are like depth of relationship. On the other side is do I know their address, but I also know the type of house, the year they bought their house. That's deep real estate side.
No.
So that's where we're trying to go with this, but we got a question in the middle here.
Yeah. Which, well, let's pull it up here. I got,
Okay, so we got a few things.
yeah. I saw chat going. I didn't actually go through them yet. We got if gas prices are remaining high.
Okay, so these are very specific.
Yeah.
Do we want to hit these
Yeah.
right now or roll a little bit and finish up and then leave some room?
I say we bring those into the after show.
Or hit them near the end. I like some of
Yeah.
these things. There's going to be a few things here, but so Jennifer, you got some great questions. We're gonna talk about these. And Leanne. Know that we're coming back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you think about like marketing concepts around the business card, is that still the most effective way to like? So, do you need a business card because it's effective or because it's expected?
Both. But I think like business cards are not that like how most people do, or it's just like they walk around the room and just give it out to everyone. That's like the bad salesman move, right? Of just like, but just having something that has your info. Because like I like the concept of, you can tap your phones or you can add your contact card in. The problem with that, which I've even been guilty of this, is like I'll get someone's contact info. If what if I forget their name or what it's about, then I got to try and like remember it to find them in my contacts that has how many people in it. So then like I'll
Hmm.
have to remember things. So like what I will do instead, if I'm sharing contacts that way instead of a business card, because what I like about a business card and using like a conference as an example is like I'm going to put that in my pocket. And then when I get home, I'm emptying my pockets. And then it's like that reminder, right? That's the person. Right. So on that front, I'm going to prefer a business card over just entering a phone. Now, if I'm trying to get someone into someone's phone, I'm not getting them to add me as a contact. I'm having like an email sent because similarly, it's going to be a reminder for one of us or both. But that allows that to happen. I don't like the contact card exchange. Like, you can like tap a phone together and it creates the contact. I'm not actually a big fan of that one. I think it gets dropped and left too often. You need to have established that next thing. And if that means it's because it's an email to yourself, the next thing is you're going to follow up with them because of that. If it's like, um, you follow each other on Instagram, you can send a DM, but something that triggers the next thing that happens after that meeting here. And business cards can help with that. Because again, gives you the reminder to follow up with them. And it's like, here's what it is. Like I like getting them because at the end of the event, I can put them all out and be like, okay, yeah, I talked to that person about this. I got to follow up about this, and I can start making my to-do list. Or if I had to like scroll through my phone, be like, do I recognize these names? Who's the one again? Or I gotta like sort of put reminders in myself. I'm gonna drop things off. So that's why I like business cards. But I also like, and we've talked on the show, I'm a big proponent of having different business cards for different situations that you're going into. It's not just having one. Like, yes, you have a general one. You're out and about. You have it, but like if I'm a realtor, I would have an open house business card. And like it wouldn't say open house business card, but it's like when you think of the people coming through an open house, the messaging for them is going to be different than you go to a conference with other realtors. That's a different business card. Like if I'm an Edmonton realtor But I'm like you and I went to that Halifax conference. I would make sure on one side of that it's talking about referrals. Like, do you have a pitch for referrals other than you're the Edmonton guy? Like, if think about the guy from, I think he is actually from Halifax and he was at the event where like he will give you 25% referral fee and a fresh thing of lobster. That's his like
I know
thing.
exactly who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
But like I would
And
have
I'm
that
glad
on
they
the
do
back
that
of the
because we just
card.
call them the Lobster Team because pronouncing
Yeah.
their last name
Yeah, it's
is
tough. But
Babaluga Blah,
Bagaloo, yeah. But like that's the one
but
where
super nice
I would
people.
put I would have for them a separate business card for events with agents. Because the piece there of like if I'm going to an open house and my business card says like for every referral I'm going to send you live lobster and 25%, like that doesn't make sense. Right? But having that other one there does.
Yep.
The card you leave behind at a showing, if that's what happens in your area, like our area, you're supposed to leave the card when you walk through the
So what
home
you're
of the
hitting
agent.
here is think about the situations that you're shooting
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
So leaving your card in a house, unless it's like a requirement of a board,
Yeah.
I want you to think about how you interact with other agents as a lower priority and how you get enough opportunities to stay in business as a higher priority. And so we would make a business card that would be something that most people like that would gain you points.
Yeah.
So the first thing is with the business card, it is your first example of your work. You
Yeah.
are a marketing company. If your business card looks like it was made at home or is low quality, like somebody who there is nothing that would be better than zero. Do not give a business card. Just hope they remember you in some weird way. Than a business card printed from home.
Like even as like thinking of the showing one, which I don't think you do in your area, it's the norm in mine. Just imagine if it was just a thank you for taking the time to get your home ready for us to view it. And
Yeah, no,
like
we need to go
that's what's
back to
up.
the prize though. What's the one that gets me clients, Andrew?
Yeah. Well, so I mean that one is a long-term play of
No, no,
like
no. I
how
need clients
thoughtful.
now. We're starting from
Yeah.
scratch.
So that again, you
So I
gotta
need I
look at
need
what matters.
cards.
Yep.
So let's talk about a card about the people I meet in real estate that I want to develop relationships with.
Where are you
So I
meeting
meet
them
them
for
at open
this?
houses, stuff like
You're
that.
going. So if we're going to open houses, you take it one of two ways. One is you focus on the seller side or you focus on the buyer side. You know they're likely buyers because they're walking through the house. Now, if it's a move up home, you know they likely have a home to sell. And business cards are cheap enough that you could do custom cards for each one. I wouldn't go that far. Uh, but
So let's start on the baselines. Let's just
yeah,
say we're going to make one card
yeah.
for the people we meet in real estate. What do you think has to be
Okay.
on it?
I mean, the regulatory stuff, your contact, like a one side of the business card should be what they expect, which is this is your contact
Name,
information,
email,
this,
phone number,
that stuff.
brokerage.
Exactly. Like the very much the expected side of the card. You don't want to like throw them off by being like, what is this thing you're handing me?
Okay.
Um,
Now we go to the
that's
other
a
side. This is where the
If we
magic
go to the other
happens.
side, that is where you're looking at again, this so this audience
Ron says
is
referral fee.
if you're doing it for agents and you're going there. Because if you put referral fee on there, and this is the one you're handing consumers, if you're in a lot of the areas where bird dog fees are not allowed, you just got yourself a nice little fine. Um, so again, knowing the context of where you're giving it out. So how I would look at that, like say my ideal clients, I want people who are like sales ready. So this is the other thing you have to look at your process for the right card. Are you trying to collect and grow your insiders list more than sales qualified leads? Right.
Okay. So we're
So
talking
you have to
about
know
meeting
your
people.
process.
And what Andrew is saying is that he's gonna like you could do it with an apparatus like a newsletter if you wanted to sign people up with that as a way to keep
Yeah.
in touch. But you're like to make this
You,
more fundamental, you're looking for a call to action.
yeah. You need
So a call
something
to
on there.
action could be sign up for my newsletter,
No.
or it could be get some type of like update from me.
Yeah. But the sign up for
Then
it has to be a better
uh,
call to action than sign up for a newsletter. like you need an actual reason. Because I have seen that where
Sure.
it's just sign up for my newsletter. No one is just entering their email because it says sign up for my newsletter.
Compelling call to action. So
Yes.
we're going to say like general criteria. We're going to have a call to action. We'll iron that out. What's that? What else
And
is on there?
contextual. So I mean that's the main thing is you don't want to overwhelm them
Oh,
with different options.
pitch
So
and a
you could
close,
put that's it. Now you
right?
could do
Pitch
one
and a
like
call to action.
if it's a quick and to the point one, you could do split screen and just do buyer seller. So there's one here. If you're buying, here's what the next step. If you're selling, here's the next step. Or you could collect both. Like if I went back to sales today, so I live in a neighborhood called Bristol, London. Um, I would just I would start a newsletter that talks about the Bristol, London market. And then I would just be like, get the Bristol, London report in your inbox, right?
Mhm.
And then grow from there. Now, if you're not doing that type of thing, you're not gonna do it. But this is where it's like you have to have defined for you, like before you get into designing a business card, you have to define how you get clients. What is that process? Like, okay, for you, like let's say you have Facebook ads and that goes into the insider list. The insider list, you start emailing them. The emails eventually lead to appointments. Appointments lead here. And like you have to have all that dot find out and be okay, when I'm giving my business card to people, where are they relative to this situation? Then what's a contextual message that makes sense at that point? And
Mhm.
if that is like they have never heard of the insider list and that's the only time they're ever going to see it, then I'm going to put it right there with this go could feed into it, right? So like
So we're
maybe
going
the
to go
pitch on the
to
back is add them to that. Now, if you want them, if you don't have anything like that, and so at the end of the day, and this is how a lot of people are set up because they don't really have a system defined or set up. Really, all they're equipped to handle are CMA requests and like a buyer presentation, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot they don't have that rest of it set up, defined, or so. So you really kind of have to go hard SQL of like thinking of selling your home, find out what it would sell for, go here to get that, or
So this
something
is
along
something
that
that I
line.
really want to draw somebody's attention to because the bait you use is the fish you get.
No,
So looking to buy or sell right now, call me. You are fishing for people in the action phase.
no,
All right. That's the language of that. Now, what's the likelihood that those people got all the way into the action phase without talking to other people about real estate, some of which were realtors?
no, small.
Even the worst realtors that have been in any level of business can close that opportunity,
No.
right? So
Now in an
now,
open house,
if
there
you
is a
if you
value for
ask
that.
people a different question, you get a different you get like different fish. Change the
No,
bait. Do you want to know what your house is worth? Do you want to know how much equity you've built? Then you can
no,
use things like loading phrases. Our market has done this since then. If you bought then, do you want to know what your house is worth now?
no,
So those types of things will make you more interesting. But now, if you're shooting for people that are in the research phase where they're actually willing to engage,
no.
that is something that you have a way higher likelihood of making a relationship before it takes action. So way better move. And then what Andrew is saying is like in my example, because before we've talked about the insiders list, which is an email from us on a new listing that's not yet on MLS.
No.
And so if somebody wanted to be an insider, then we're marketing that list and we could do that on our business cards. And so we would use a loading phrase like learn what's coming before it gets to realtor.ca. Hack and
Yes.
Co insiders are the way to get new info on properties not yet on MLS.
No,
And then it would maybe be a QR code.
no.
So they could put it down on their table, take it with their phone, end up having this digital connection to us.
Yeah. But like here we have like Jennifer, like call to action for buyers and sellers, sign up for my market report, not a newsletter. I wouldn't even say sign up for my market report because like you'd be surprised how many people are either intimidated by that or don't actually know what that specifically means they're getting out of it. Right? Like are they just getting a generic group of stats sent to their month, like their inbox? Like I would be like here's one that's worked really well, even both for some clients and REM for like a general newsletter sign up, not an insider's one, which is like become the smartest in your neighborhood about real estate in 3 minutes a week. And it's that like that's what I'm going to learn about in this area is I'm going to become really smart about real estate. I'm going to get that out of this. Like that's the transformation I'm going
And
to
then this
see.
turns into like a 5 bullet Friday
Yeah.
as
And you
opposed to these market reports. So let's talk
yeah.
about how this actually works. So I'm going to take you through that. So the idea with sending out market reports on a neighborhood is it's a neighborhood farming.
Yep.
And one of the ways that you can exchange with the public is information. And then this information is specific information that should be valuable to them on their own neighborhood, right? Because
Yep.
if you made it for the whole city, that would be less specific or less interesting to them. Then the idea is most people will look at this for the first time. And you've probably had this experience if you've worked in real estate where somebody walks up to you and says, "How's the market?" And you just came from some type of forecast. So in that moment, you have pockets full of how's the market, right? And then you turn and it's like, I don't even think you'd count to 10 before you see their eyes glaze over and realize that they have already finished listening, even though you've not finished speaking.
Yeah.
It's a litmus test, meaning that they look at the information and then they need to know you are here, like in the mall diagram. So then they call the person and say, "Okay, I need you now because you look like you could be a guide because you show up here all the time.
Yep.
Now you need to explain what's going on in my neighborhood." That's how you respond to how's the market. It's normally with a question. What are you trying to do?
Yeah. But like, let's say I went back to sales today. Like, I wouldn't even necessarily my main newsletter would not be a like deal of the week style one. I would go further upstream and I would basically, and we've talked about this concept before, and I've tried to tell you to do it, of essentially become the local newspaper, right? Like I
Yes.
would do a
You told me
weekly
to buy at the
community.
local newspaper.
Yes, correct. Buy it. I think everyone should do that if there's enough budget.
Anybody who's bought a
But
magazine highly
yeah,
recommends it. I
yeah,
feel
no
the same
bias there
thing.
at
Guys I
all.
know that have
That's
yachts,
my
they're
specialty.
like,
Yeah.
you have to have a boat.
You gotta do it. Oh, it's like I was talking to somebody who went to got invited to a Mercedes racetrack one time, but like should not have really been in that group. Long story. And the dinner, he's like, this was the most mind-blowing dinner of my life because they're sitting around arguing about why if you have money for a Ferrari, you should just buy a helicopter instead because it's more effective. And I was like, and he's like, but I left that not being able to afford it, but thinking I really should buy a helicopter.
But that's the thing is that
Yeah,
like helicopter gets attention. So if that's what if
yeah,
you're rocking Richard Branson style, then that's
yeah,
what you're looking for. But
yeah,
then a Ferrari is a club.
yeah,
So if you're doing B2B with the type of profile that drives a Ferrari, it's like all of these things are not a point A to point B, which is
no,
the silliest thing of that conversation.
yeah. So the anyways, back to what I was saying, like you have the local newspaper, there's a lot of benefits to owning that, which could be, for example, one, you have people all the time, but what you're really also doing is creating a database of everyone in your town, whether they're interested in real estate or not.
And we're
And
micro scaling this. We're
yeah,
saying that you're creating a database of people that know and like you, that you're having real estate conversations with, which
yeah,
means that you are hanging around the gates of trust.
yeah.
Okay.
And
And if they know and like you and aren't having real estate conversations with you, that's what we call the heartbreak hotel. That is the fastest express lane to heartache and woe because you're going to see them at the next event and they're going to tell you about the house they bought and they're going to be like, "Oh, I forgot
yeah.
you." Oh,
And but to do that, like let's use the newspaper example. Like say you want to go buy the newspaper. I would say like until you have mapped out very specifically how they go from someone reading the newspaper to client, you
yeah,
should never do that. Because some people
totally.
will jump ahead and be like, oh, that's like people even like I remember when I was starting out again, 2012, when newspaper advertising was bigger, but already starting to go away, like the amount of people who would jump into buying ads in a newspaper and then outside of like, oh, they can call me. Like they hadn't thought of what that process looks like at all.
Anybody who had a successful career previously comes in and
Yeah.
buys a bunch of bus benches just because they've seen it happen.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that we really want to encourage is like Andrew's talking about things at a larger scale.
Yeah.
And I know that's where everybody's mind goes.
Yeah.
But could you imagine if Walt Disney built, like he built the theme park before anything else? And then if you zoom out now, all of the movies are just profitable marketing for the most expensive vacation that is part of every American childhood,
But
every
he mapped out
complete
that
North
ecosystem
American
back
childhood.
then. Like
Yeah, but like
that's
that's how it all
yeah,
works. So if
yeah,
you just tried to make a major production film and had a
yeah,
theme park and just like blew your load on that one thing, it's not going to work.
yeah,
And so we want to bring these into context and say
yeah.
like you have to have a way for you to document things.
Have you read this one?
No.
So it's a great one. And one of the things it talks about is
Called
documenting
Get
your process.
Scalable. It's by Ryan
Yeah,
Dice.
yeah. I'll put it up for people to read it better. But basically, the idea to let's I have a belief that the majority of business books can be done into a blog post. So if we're doing the blog post version of Get Scalable, essentially, and it is way more in depth of that, and I think it's worth it if you want to look at operationalizing your business, is map out two functions and only two functions of your business. How do you get clients? How do you serve clients? But it's down to the level of detail, and the way that he recommends doing is with like post-it notes. So it's like if the first thing that happens is they see a bus bench ad, hypothetically, we're going to say that's the starting point because that's what you've decided to do as your main marketing out there.
Okay. Now,
Like,
applying this to real estate, it
yeah,
would be about getting in an open house. So then the first thing that happens, because property is more exciting to people in real estate than your bus bench will ever be.
yeah.
So
So
now you're using the most cost-effective methods because we're kind of
yeah,
starting here. So you get a property that's doing the marketing for you,
yeah,
and that's what's driving them to you. So that's the point of
yeah.
entry.
So you look at what is that first contact, right? But even let's use the open house example. Let's say you run an ad on Facebook that is promoting the open house you're running this weekend. What's the next, as soon as they see that ad, what's the next thing they do? Do they click on it? Do they call you? Do they like how are they now taking that next step? You write that down. So let's say they see your ad, they click on it to go to a page to like see the details. Okay, great. Now they go to that page. What's the next step they take after that page? You write that down. And you basically just that granularly write down the whole, and at every point along that where they could take one or two decisions. So let's say like a landing page, you've asked them to fill out their information so they could get information about the property before they come to the open house. Like maybe that's the call to action when they click on the ad. Then
This
you
has to be
have
very controlled though,
decision of
because you
yes,
can make a tree
information.
like this,
Yeah.
but you can also get into option paralysis.
Yeah.
So
And
going
this is where
back
you're
to the
moving forward.
basics, what is the one that we should do that works the best? Then maybe what is one alternative because you want to control these.
Yeah.
So we don't have anything else. We don't have any landing pages. We have a list of the 50 people I suggested,
Yeah.
and now we have a business card that's got half a back on it,
It's a
which
beautiful
is the
back.
one where we asked them if they
Yeah.
what were we asking them on that one?
For you to be join the insiders list, I think would be
Join the
what you would put
insiders.
on the back. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so drawing
Of
back to that
hacking.
on the other side, what I would put is when do the best choices for me come to the market?
Yeah.
Am I waiting like basically find out here? And then that one they would click into and that would basically have them tell me about what they're looking for. And then I would come back and say what season is that most likely in this area?
No.
And that's a great way to open a conversation about real estate. So we're talking about two captures. Now that we have a way to capture, which is the point of an open house. So the point of an open house is to keep the conversation going. You're not showing up with engagement rings. Talking to people about buying things and writing offers is how you scare the hell out of all of them. So instead, you kind of start on trying to close the conversation and then trying to close the first date because you're not at the first date. You're at the nightclub where you're meeting them right now.
Yeah. So your goal at that is essentially to define what the next step is after with them. So
And
like if you're an
exchange
open
contact
house,
information.
yeah, to set up that next step and how you do that's going to be different for every person. Like I would do an easy one, which we've talked about here too, is like the listing update of like, do you want to get updates on this property, including when it sells, the sold price? Give me your contact information. That's an easy one to follow up. For some people, if you have the system set up to like send those updates, that's great. Others, it might be Do you want me to send you similar homes to this? Do you want
So we
to?
can just do the ones that are most basic because like the way that we
Yeah,
get into the other ones is through future expansion. And
yeah,
we should be making a shitty first draft and then kind of drafting out. So I love where you're hitting on this, which is that we need to be able to talk to specific people about what's next in a
yeah,
way that matters to them.
yeah,
That's valuable enough that it's worth the exchange for contact information.
yeah,
The salesperson in me knows that that's going to be a greeting. It's going to have this part where we do qualification and rapport building. We're going to present, but we're not presenting buying or selling houses. We are presenting, do you want updates? Like we're presenting the why. Hey, I bet you're going to be wondering later what this place sells for. Do you want updates? Then you have the other people that you have to think about what's your close like so that's an example of a close or of a presentation for the close of getting contact information. And then you could overcome objections like, no, we're just browsing. Okay. But when there is the one, right? How are you going to decide how much to pay? Like if it's like this, you're going to be standing next to the listing agent and I already promised somebody to get them the most cash. How do you know I'm giving you the right info? Like don't want your own person next to you. So that's what I mean by overcoming objections. So, and it goes back like that. So in order to do that, I normally have to prepare in advance, like Andrew's mentioning, have a way to close and exchange contact information that's better than give me your number. Like
yeah.
you want
Which
to
was
make
like
things faster and smoother.
when I say like when I was selling real estate and I was a big door knocker early on, like this was essentially my mistake is I was just introducing myself at doors, being like, yeah, no, if you're happen to be in the market, I'm your guy. Obviously, no one ever really like I
And door knocking has
with two
changed now,
days.
like with Ring
Yeah.
cameras, but I was a big door knocker. And there's ways to do it again, but I think you should more pair it with a neighborhood plan.
No.
But for me, I did it around listings. And if you take a look at the measurement, so what we want out of door knocking and open houses is the same thing.
No.
We want defined relationships with exchanged contact information. So we're actually looking for direct relationships and or database entries. And what I ended up doing was making a survey that was based on neuro linguistic programming. So I figured out that like what I really wanted people to do is give me information and write it down. So if I gave them a few practices, they'd be really easy towards it, and it would actually like basically get past their defenses. So I just phrased for it. So my greeting should always have like a job. So my greeting in an open house is to do two things. I need it to get from being the realtor to Taylor as soon as I can. I need to become a person because I already exist in their mind. They were sitting in the car out in front of this open house thinking, how do I see this house without talking to that guy? All right. So then they come in and I have to have a greeting that's warm. I have to make sure it's not too loud because some people, when we say tone up, they just get loud and that scares people.
No.
And then I'm going to pair it with what I call a razor. So you can use a matrix, like we talked about Eisenhower's matrix before, or you can use a razor, which is designed to split things. And in this case, my razor is, did you have to come from far to be here today? Because I want to divide people into people that live in this neighborhood, whether or not they're buyers or sellers or anything else, and people that don't, because that's one step forward. And then I can go into those groups. But man, that's great progress in that short amount of words. That's a high efficiency. So then you kind of move into things. I use techniques like go too deep, where whatever answer they give me, I do two questions off of that.
Yep.
And then that buys me time to think. And then I use another technique called ARP, which is acknowledge, reply, pivot. And I just bounce around in there while I collect everything I need, which is timeline, family occupation, dreams, information on the past that helps me forecast what they're looking for in the future. And in there, I find what they find interesting or where they're going and something they don't even know will be interesting, which is where the real magic is. And then I present that part. So with buyers, it's frequency of opportunity. They didn't even think that they might be waiting for a bus that never comes. This guy even knows about problems I don't even know about. I need him. All right. That's a working phrase. And man, does it ever function. Because we just, instead of trying to win the argument, buy a house with me. I changed the conversation. I know how to help in places that you don't even know what the places are.
Well, so when we talk about content, right? Like the most effective content I always know, like they're the two most effective is one, answering questions they don't know to ask, and then aha moments, which is kind of like a more
Those
dramatic
both are
version. Yeah.
establishing
Guaran-
credibility.
yeah. Like you
So
want
hit an
them to have
example of
that.
those.
So I always use the cottage example. That's the easiest one, which is the roadshore allowances, right? Like from a realtor's perspective, if you're buying a cottage and they're using someone out of town, if they don't know a house has a roadshore allowance, they could end up with a road between the cottage and the water.
Neighborhood
Most
knowledge.
buyers have never heard of a roadshore allowance. And so like in your or like in my area when I used to sell, and there was a one part of town that had an underwater river. And all the homes that happened to be along that line had foundation issues that needed a $40,000 fix. A lot of them had done that already. Not all of them had. If you didn't know that little patch, because there's maybe only 20 homes that this
That's
actually
such a great
impacted,
example.
is like if you didn't know that, to look for that and be like, oh yeah, you can tell that they've actually had them, but we're going to get the inspector to double check this as well. Or if you're like, it doesn't look like done into anything to the foundation here, and I know the homes in this area have had this issue, we're going to want to really make sure we pay attention to that, because that could become a $40,000 fix down the road.
Okay, so that's a
Yeah,
specific instance that's near
yeah,
them, and it's a flash of neighborhood knowledge.
yeah,
And that's where he's establishing credibility. And so that means that people that didn't know that would need him because he
yeah,
knows that.
yeah,
And that's really what you're doing is auditioning for a guide. I'm going to show you a different example. If I'm in an open house and anybody walks near a window and they kind of look at the window, I immediately take my phone out and I show them the little trick where you use the flashlight on your phone to show how many panes of glass there is. Now, when I do that, I know that for established realtors, that's kind of funny. And for some people, they might think it's gimmicky. But when you do it the first time, look at the eyes that you do it to. And they're like, oh, man, I didn't even understand how to understand the quality of windows. Holy shit, am I out of my depth? It's not the flashlight that gets them.
yeah.
It's the understanding the problem that the flashlight solves that they didn't even have a grip on. They were looking at kitchens.
Well, it's even
And then
like,
if you pair
yeah.
that with windows for the most expensive upgrade, and if you're looking in mature neighborhoods like this will be a big part of your experience.
Yeah. Even the window one, like I remember early on for me, there's an agent who gave me a similar lesson. And what she would do is she'd look down where the price or the age, like they put the year between. When you look down, you can see she would come up and show them, be like, you see, that's how we tell when these were done. Life expectancy is this. So these are going to need to be done in this timeline.
What
And
what
she'd
what were
like,
you looking at?
so in but when you look down a
Down what?
window,
Oh,
so like
oh, I
go
see.
like
You're
almost put your
looking
head
you're
against
looking
it
between the
and down.
glass
Yeah.
and in
A
the
lot of them
frame of the
have a
ones that are
year
stainless
at the bottom.
or
Yeah.
in the yeah, those aluminum sliders have that, but the vinyl
Yeah.
windows none of them do.
Yeah. But she would do that all the time and be like, all right, so I've done this, and then immediately do the mental math of that means with by this year, these will need to be replaced.
Yep. So
And
the
it's
idea would
simple.
be is that you use this part of it as rapport building.
Yeah.
So this is showing that I'm an expert. It's also considered a deposit from their experience. And then you use that for exchange for withdrawals. And then
Yeah.
you're going to be able to be like, "Oh yeah, what are the windows like in the place that you live? I'm going to find out more about your history." It's going to be easier for you to talk about where you came from than where you're going, right? But also where you came from normally helps me really understand where you're going. And so those are the things that you want to kind of get into is understanding that when I meet somebody in property, I'm going to use property, but I'm mostly talking about them. And when I meet somebody in person, like at a party, I need to find comfortable ways to do the same. Like, so how do you do the flashlight trick without doing the flashlight trick?
Yeah. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. Like I talked about before, there's a woman in my office when I was selling, she had every developer's book from every development in Aurora for 50 years. And so, like any neighborhood, if you went to her office, you could pull it out and know what the different models and elevations were. And then you could walk into a home that had been there for 30 years and be like, oh, you have this model.
Yep.
Here's what we've
So
seen.
that's
Super
neighbor,
simple.
that's that
Yeah.
flash of, so you can see that people build presentations around this,
Yeah.
and being able to show somebody, actually show them, is something that is super powerful. So we'll talk
Yeah.
more about this as we go, because I think we're making it in the right place, talking about the ways you can follow up with these people afterwards.
Yeah.
But really, think about yourself in those first time meetings. I like to play the bounce with people I know, which means, hey, yeah, what were you doing this week? Anything that you were really interested in? I don't like what do you do? And they might tell me about a hobby, and then I'll say, man, I wish I had a hobby like that because I'm normally out showing houses. And then I would mention about someone, like a story of someone I was helping and they ran into some trouble and then we worked through it.
No.
And that would be it. Now they like me. I'm in real estate. If I can keep opening that door, we keep going.
And that brings us to the top of the hour. And we're going to go to the after show. And I want to talk to you because when you said Ring cameras, it popped an idea into my head. So we're going to talk about it.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, I like it. My mind started moving on the Ring camera thing, and I have ideas.
Okay. After show
So,
Ring camera edition. Sorry
yeah,
you guys
so
couldn't make it. If you're
too
watching
bad.
on YouTube, if you're
Yeah,
listening
you're
on
out.
podcasts,
But we're
know
going to
that
talk
you
about
can
this.
hit the Real Estate Magazine website. You can
Yeah.
be here next time because there's a series of people that are here, like Mike and Ryan and Jennifer and Ron, even
Yeah.
Jeff.
A lot of
And that's
great
Jeff with
ones.
a G.
Yeah.
And we're taking them to the after show. They don't even have a choice, but you're not coming, but you could. You could be here next time.
Links in the comments to join. See everyone.